investment philosophy, a methodology, and a process that you truly believe in can be life-changing, not only for you, but also for your family and for generations to come. Join me today as I speak with our Head of Funds Management and Education, Sanjee Narendran. Hear his story on how he went from understanding investments and being a stockbroker, but not really having that full belief, to finding something that worked, not only logically, but practically as well. So Sanjee, tell us a little bit about you, how it all began.
Oh, how much do you want to know?
Oh, we want to know it all.
Okay, all right. So where do I start? Let's start at the beginning.
Good place to start.
All right. So I was born in Sri Lanka, and soon after I was born, the country went into civil war. My father left me with my mother while he traveled to the UK to try and find work. Okay. Prior to that, he was quite successful in Sri Lanka. He was on the board of a couple of big organizations. And then he went into the UK trying to find some work over there, having no luck. He'd was working in a movie theater of all places, ripping tickets and things like that. And it's quite a big change from sitting there as an executive and a board member. Then his cousin called him in South Africa and said, "Oh, come over and let me see if I can find you something over there." Jumped over there. In the meantime, he had applications all around Australia, Canada, and the rest of it, US. And the Australian Immigration Office called and said, "We can bring you guys over to Australia. You're welcome to come over here."
Okay.
This is not long after Australia opened up they stopped its White Australia policy.
Right.
So not immediately after, but soon enough after that. There wasn't a lot of migrants at the time.
Okay.
So when we got over here, we were one of the first few people of Sri Lankan Tamil descent over here that we had a very small community, knew a couple of others, but not very many people over in Australia.
So for context, how old were you at this point?
By the time I got here, I was only about 2.
Right.
So I've grown up in Australia. That's why I have an Aussie accent. And I've grown up here. So my schooling was all here. Finished up at school, went to uni, studied business management and international business. Then I was, at the time I was working at Optus, while I was in uni. Finished Optus, started running a few of their Optus stores and things like that in the branches. Then I started getting involved in investing because around that time, that's when my father retired. He'd had quite a successful career. He'd again got to Australia, started off as a junior accounts clerk over here.
Okay.
And at the time he was working for a company, I think earlier on he was working for AWA.
Right.
You'll remember them?
Yeah.
We used to make those stereos and TVs and all of that kind of stuff.
I'm going to say vaguely, just to save myself.
So he worked for them, and then he went around a few places, and then he ended up at Woolworths at their national office. So he worked in the accounts team and raised up the ranks there. But when he got to his mid-40s, he was one of the senior execs at Woolworths, and he'd had enough of corporate life, so he decided it's time to retire.
Yeah.
He had quite a lot of Woolworths shares that he'd accumulated over his time working there. At the time, he was able to get quite a bit when Woolworths first floated. He was part of that. He was involved in some interesting projects like the GST implementation across Woolworths, things like that. So it was always interesting hearing him and his what he's doing at work, and I always took an interest there. And then he started investing once he retired.
Okay.
at 40.
Yeah, in his mid-40s.
Wow.
So he retired quite
That
early.
says a lot,
Yeah,
about his
retired.
character to
And-
basically he's built twice.
Yes, he's built quite a few times, actually. It's true.
That's, yeah.
And but by the time he retired, he had some investment properties. He had a large share portfolio. He was quite comfortable. He knew, and he's been an accountant by qualification, and he was a strategic accountant working for Woolworths as well. So he's used to handling investments and accounts and things like that. So he was quite financially literate. So he started investing and learning all about investments, which got me interested. And then I was doing the same thing. He made some good money. We were doing CFD trading. We did margin loans. We had option trading, all of which was the flavor at the time. I got so interested. I started investing some money, built up enough for a deposit for my first apartment. So I was quite happy about that. Pulled out some money for that. And at that time, I left Optus and went to ComSec. So I started working at ComSec, which is quite an interesting experience.
Following the incredible success of our standout event in Sydney earlier this year, we would like to extend a warm invitation for you to attend the Emerging Wealth Winners Conference, Melbourne 2025. This event will be held in the iconic MCG Members Dining Room. We're bringing together a standout lineup of only 7 curated ASX-listed CEOs to present the insights, the knowledge, the shared wisdom, and the strategies that help inform investors making wiser decisions on when and where to invest into. This event is sure to be jam-packed, full of the knowledge and the wisdom that you're seeking, and we encourage you to register at tipgroup.com.au. Check out the events page, and we look forward to seeing you there.
So how did that affect you?
But for me, I had a different journey because he had already been through it a couple of times. But most of my upbringing was watching him climb that ladder at Woolworths. So not seeing the first few times that it all affected us as much, but watching him climb the ladder. But it was more eye-opening in terms of I thought I'd be able to help him by being in touch with the market and being in the industry. And I thought I would have some sort of insight or have the ability to make some sort of prediction and connections that will be able to assist me into making the right prediction as to where the market was going to go and which companies were going to do well out of it. And what I realized through it all is I had nothing. I was really just guessing. So that scared me off investing.
Understandably.
Yeah. But I continued working in stockbroking. So I continued working at ComSec for a little while. And then, after the whole GFC had come and gone, on ComSec restructured and found myself redundant there.
Okay.
So I went on to Morrison Securities, where I was working there. And all that experience from ComSec was able to come over. But I found that through my career, I always stayed away from giving advice and trading myself. So I found property as being a more secure investment. I found that if I'm not going to put my money into something, I'm not going to take a chance of putting somebody else's money into it. So I stayed away from it. But I've spent my time using my degree, and the way I was thinking at the time was more about running the business, about how do we make money as a broker, and how do I grow a broking operation? How do I look at the business aspects of broking as opposed to being a broker and providing broking advisory services?
Yeah.
So I went more into the management side of the broking career. So by the time I was at State One, or before I joined Teaminvest, I was the managing director at State One Stockbroking.
Yeah.
So I was taking care of all the operational side of things. We had quite a few staff. We had advisors. We had traders, we have admin staff, and that had a full connection to the ASX. We had direct connection to ASX as a tier 1 participant.
Yeah.
So I knew all the business side of it. We used to white label for clients as well. We had advisors on the books. So I had exposure to everybody in the market still.
Yeah.
But in a different way. Yeah. So I got to see things from the inside, which made me, I guess, even more dubious about investing my own money into these stocks, because because we've got advisors, we've got large client base, we'd often get companies that come up to us and we do capital raisings for them. And capital raisings are a great source of money for a broker. You make 6 to 8% off whatever you can raise for a business.
Okay.
Especially if they want an IPO or whatever it is. If you come in as a lead manager, there's quite a lot to make there. And whenever a business comes in and the advisors sit down at the table, they always say, okay, you want to raise money, how much you're looking to raise. Now, what are you going to do? And the first thing the advisors turn around and say, okay, so what is the story we're going to create?
Right.
So how do we sell something? How do we get people to invest in this? We need a really good story.
So it's the play on people's emotions and get them emotionally connected to the company.
That's right.
As opposed to being connected to the research and the facts.
And I'm not saying or claiming that anyone was doing anything wrong. And maybe the way it sounds when I'm repeating it makes it sound more sinister than it actually was. If the company was truly a dog, you would just turn them away. If you knew that management were untrustworthy, you'd turn them away.
Yeah.
But we're looking at companies that had opportunities to grow, and they only come to you as a broker because they need money. So, and every company that comes across the exchange or comes across to a broker, well, maybe not every company, but at least 95% of the companies coming because they need money.
And they believe in what they're doing, right? Otherwise,
Absolutely.
they wouldn't be doing it.
Absolutely. So when we looked into those companies, it's not something that you could look at and say, okay, this is a great business. You have to look at those businesses in terms of what is the opportunity here.
Right.
And to me, it was, well, in the GFC, nobody knew what was going to happen and when it was going to happen and how it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And that same logic would always stick in the back of my head. It's like, well, I don't know. You've got an opportunity. You say you want to do it. Yeah, maybe there's a good chance you can pull it off. Otherwise, we wouldn't have let you through the door.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know if you're going to or not.
Yeah.
How could I know? And am I willing to take the gamble based on that person? I have met them, I like them, but I don't think I'll be investing in that person any sort of significant money at any point anyway, right? So I just stayed away from it. But as an advisor, that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to go out and say, okay, now this is the opportunity. Go out to your clients and say, do you want to be part of this opportunity? And that the opportunity and the story is the part that always got me. It's like, well, there's nothing solid. There's nothing tangible here that I'd like. So that's kind of why I kind of got spooked. I just stayed away. So I never invested my own money in the markets, but I'd quite happy running a business. And when I ran the business, it was all about running the business to make a profit. Most of the companies that we saw don't make profits. They don't necessarily have debt because they probably couldn't get debt, which is why they're coming to raise equity. And from my point of view, it was, okay, you don't have profits. Your earnings are here and there. You're still maybe in research stage. You're trying to do a lot of things, but what makes you better than somebody else, I don't know.
Yeah.
But me operating the broking business, I'd look at, okay, am my expenses under control? Am I able to make profit? What are my salaries? Whether I've got the right staff? If my capital allocation right? We didn't take on debt in that business, so we didn't have debt to worry about at least. But we had obligations to the markets. I knew all my risks. I knew where we were good at, what were our moats.
Yeah.
The business was quite good around day traders, so we had a lot of exposure to day traders, which was a strong moat for that business because day traders were in the market every day, turning over hundreds of thousands or $1 million a day.
Yeah.
And that was brokerage day in, day out, every day, which is much better than the mums and dads that might trade once a month or you'd rather people be more frequent and more active.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I knew which levers to pull when I was, and if things were tight, I knew which levers to pull. And when things were going well, I knew which other levers to pull.
Yeah.
So from the business point of view, I was doing quite well. I was quite happy there. And then I met the guys at Teaminvest. That was a big turning point. So when I met Andrew and we started talking about how Teaminvest does things and what they look for in investments, it kind of really hit hard because even though I'd been in broking, I'd studied all the courses. I had qualifications in trading equities, in advising on equities, even though I didn't give advice, I was qualified. Options, all sorts of derivatives, CFDs. I had a futures license. I could trade on the futures. I had a direct connection to ASX, so I was one of the few people that was a DTR that could directly enter trades onto the ASX.
So you knew what you were talking about.
I knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But none of that gave me any sort of confidence. But when I understood what Andrew and what the Teaminvest people were doing, it just hit home and it hit really hard.
In a good way, right?
In an absolute positive way.
Yeah.
I just said, yeah, if I'm going to buy a business, I'm going to buy a business that can operate like I can run this business.
Yeah.
So buy it as an owner, after all, as a shareholder, you're an owner. And despite working 20 years in broking, you don't really think of your shareholders as owners. You never really thought about it that way, unless it's a single shareholder or a partnership. You go, oh yeah, I own that business. Yeah, because you're the shareholder. Right? How many shares do you have to be to consider yourself an owner? Even just one.
It's true.
Right? So you should be applying that same mindset to it. And it was more about making an investment than it was about trading. So that made a lot more sense to me. And I really like the ability to bring my business expertise in terms of running and operating a business and a business of some scale into my investing and investing into businesses with the same logic and same thought I would do and act out as if I was a business owner.
Kind of brings those two kind of roads, I guess.
Yeah.
Which were the journey that you'd taken, that kind of trading, that space, as well as the understanding business and the business management. And it's kind of converging them together, isn't it?
Exactly. But I could understand a lot about the broking business, financial services, and so on. But what really attracted me to Teaminvest was there's such a big group of other members that understood a lot more about other businesses that I didn't understand really well.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit about IT because I've got friends in the industry, friends that have businesses in IT and systems and so on. So I got a bit of an understanding of how they work and how they make money. And I can understand that business model, or as Buffett talks about it, the economics of the business.
Yeah.
Disregarding the product and just focusing on the economics of the business. But I wasn't as confident with some other industries. But now after coming to Teaminvest, where we can actually hear from other people who have been experts in those industries, these are like new friends that you can consult with and get an understanding of those businesses. That really makes a difference, because now my circle of competence, my ability to understand the economics of those type of businesses is able to be translated into my investments as well.
Same as those members can come to you with your expertise in running a trading company.
Exactly.
You know the ins and outs of that company.
Yes.
You now have access to people that understand the ins and outs of
Various other companies. Yeah. Whether it be a mining services company or a engineering company or a labor hire company, it could be anything. And within our membership, there are people that are going to understand that business. So whenever we discuss these businesses and talk about it, they're contributing that valuable knowledge into these investments, and they're sharing that with the rest of the group. And together we look at it and say, okay, this is what makes this business a great business. But knowing that, and then adding on a plan, a strategy as to how we want to invest, to say, okay, buy the great business at a great price, at a reasonable price, understand the risks of the business, and because you can't operate the business yourself, you have to now trust some other management to do it. Make sure they're trustworthy, they're capable, they have a history of performing, and invest in them.
Yep.
And then that way you're going to do better over the long run. So that puts everything I've learned and everything I've experienced, it's addressed a lot of my concern points about investing and put it all together in a way that I said, I just have to be a part of this. So I sought out Andrew and I said, Andrew, I need to join you guys, but I need to be in the middle of it.
Yeah.
If I can help people avoid the situation my father went through, that is exactly what I need to be doing for my life.
And hence,
This is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. So as much as I mean, my mission is to do exactly that. Help people avoid those pitfalls of the way the industry is structured. It's not a bad thing. It's done with reason, and it's done as a course over time. It's just the way that the industry works and how the industry makes money, and that's what works for the industry. But this is a system and a way that works for the investor.
yeah.
So I would rather be on this side of the fence saying, let's work together against the market, than me trying to make money out of you investing yourself. All right. So it's like, let's all join forces. It's us against the market. And it's been pretty successful, so I can't complain.
So what have you done since joining Teaminvest and Tip Group?
Oh, I've done a lot. I have, we've now got 600 members here.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see if there's new branches. We've just opened up a branch in Townsville.
Okay.
So people will be coming there. We're looking at New Zealand and Auckland being the next venue there.
Stepping over the water.
That's right. And then hopefully Geelong will be a new location for us.
Wow.
So the more people we can help, the better it is. I'm also looking after the funds as well. So people that aren't able to participate or can't get access or too far away or don't have the time.
Yeah.
We can apply everything that we've done at Teaminvest, and they can get the benefit of all of the information of the 600 members, all of the experience, all of that wisdom and understanding the investments, and people can ride on that by investing through the funds.
Yeah.
So it's just about finding ways that we can invest in the best companies and that will allow us to make money and be consistent during that period where other businesses and other brokers are just going to make money while the investor loses.
So really our goal is to understand what people need, where they're at in their investment journey, and then have a look at the different opportunities that we can provide to them, really wherever they're at. We've got a couple of different funds. So we've got a retail fund and we've got a wholesale fund.
That's right.
If you're at the point where you're not investing yourself, but we also have a membership, if you want to be a part of that 600 strong membership that we have here, that we can benefit off each other's, let's say, brilliance.
Absolutely. Well, if you have something to contribute and you'd like to be a part of it, of course, join us. Put in your application to join Teaminvest.
Yeah.
But the membership is a little bit exclusive. It is for experienced people with industry experience that have something to contribute. But until you're at that stage, you may be younger in the journey. The funds are available. And what I'm trying to do with the funds is provide more content, provide more information. That's why we're doing these type of podcasts, to give that knowledge out to people to help them make money. And you see, Warren Buffett has been a huge inspiration for the group, Buffett and Munger, and they've never been shy about talking about how they make money and teaching others how to make money. So there's no reason to be shy about it. We can all talk about it, how to do it, and avoid the pitfalls of the rest of the market and the financial institution as to how that structure is set up for money to be made and to be lost.
And it's not like there's a limited supply, right? Everybody can actually benefit.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I think you've really taken us on a journey just to really understand where you've been, what you've seen, what you've experienced, and also why you love Teaminvest and are so passionate about helping others to find their place, find their own financial journey to success.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Kerry.
Thank you. The information contained in this podcast is of a general nature and is not intended to address the objectives, financial situation, or needs of any particular individual or entity. It is provided for informational purposes only and does not constitute, nor should it be regarded in any manner whatsoever as advice. It is not intended to influence a person in making a decision. No one should act on such information without appropriate professional advice after a thorough examination of their particular situation and needs. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Teaminvest Wealth Builders. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and inspiring. If you know anyone else who could benefit from hearing this episode, please hit the share button and pass it on. If you'd like to learn more about Teaminvest or our unique investment approach, visit us at teaminvest.com.au. And please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast for more episodes. Until next time, stay informed, stay invested, and keep building wealth.